If you do test positive or are exposed to COVID-19, the CDC this week changed guidelines for isolating and quarantining. As WDRB's Christy Batista explains, doctors say it's proof that scientists are learning more about the virus.
With COVID, there's a lot of new learnings.
The change comes because health officials are learning that the majority of transmission happens 1 to 2 days before symptoms and 2 to 3 days after.
You see that education and scientific evidence come about. We see the CDC make changes. That can be frightening sometimes, and sometimes it can be unsettling. But I think as we look at that, it does seem to fit.
The new guidelines say if you test positive for COVID-19, isolate for 5 days. If signs and symptoms are gone or getting better on day 6, you can go back to doing things, but make sure you stay masked for 5 more days. If you have a fever on day 5, you must continue to isolate until you're fever-free for 24 hours.
The goal is obviously to not get COVID, not get quarantined, not have to even deal with the process. And so I think if we really take a prevention strategy there from the beginning, it's really about getting vaccinated. And especially if you've gotten those first 2 shots and you qualify for the booster, to make an appointment to get that.
If you've been exposed and you are boosted, wear a mask around others for 10 days and test on day 5 from exposure. If you start to feel symptoms, stay home and get tested. If you've been exposed and are not boosted or not vaccinated, stay home for 5 days. After those 5 days, if you're still not feeling any symptoms, you can go back to normal activity, but still mask up for 5 more days. Get tested on day 5 or if you start feeling any symptoms.
Incredibly challenging times that have been, I think, hard on a lot of people, and a lot of families have lost loved ones. But I think we can have a lot of hope going forward that we can continue to get through this.
And the changes, he says, shows there's a light at the end of the tunnel. In Louisville, Christy Batista, WDRB News.